The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Well, hello everyone. Can you guys hear me? Put a one in the chat. The crew backstage is letting me know that they can, and I am trying to. Why won't the video go away? There we go. Hey, it wouldn't be devil's advocates if we didn't have some type of technical crap going on. So, welcome on in, everyone. As I said, this is Devil's Advocates, and hope everyone is having a fantastic Sunday night and that you had a wonderful weekend and a very nice Valentine's Day, of course, if you celebrate. So, but great to be here with you again. And want to welcome in all the denizens, say hello to all the mods on all three platforms. That's right, we have almost a full panel tonight. We're going to have Dago with us from TruCrime Cafe, and also Logan from Bronx Tales, as the banner below says. Unfortunately, right now on Sundays, we're not going to have Joe. He's doing gigs. He's a musician and he does a lot of gigs on weekends right now. But hopefully in a month or so here, we'll be able to have him back on Sundays. So, but for now, that is probably going to be hit or miss with him pretty much. So, but hey, he's a musician, he's doing what he loves, and that's what matters. So, maybe now and again he'll be able to pop in. So, but so also this evening we were supposed to um have Charlie from American Spy Fox on. However, apparently he had some type of a schedule conflict come up, and unfortunately was not able to join us. But maybe in the future, at some point, that may work out. But unfortunately, just didn't work out this time around, and we all know what that's like. So we get it. Things happen. So, but Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and start bringing up the crew here. This is going to be our last night covering Kurt Cobain, and we're going to deal tonight primarily with the crime scene. So, but let me go ahead and get the crew on up here. I'm going to bring up Miss Logan first. So, welcome to the stage, Miss Logan. You're muted.
No, I didn't say,
There we
oh
go.
shit. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday evening.
How are you doing?
Excellent. I got a bunch of stuff done today that I planned to do, but thought that I would flake out on the, cleaning and laundry and stuff today and just
Mm-hmm.
relax. But I actually got up and did it. So I'm giving myself a gold star today.
Hey, that's right. Each little thing to the good, and I know what that's like. Yeah, sometimes though, if you put tunes on, it's okay. It's good. Then it
Eh,
gets you in the groove a little more.
'Tis
But
life sometimes,
yep, that is true. That
So,
is
yes,
true.
good to see everybody. I'm so excited for tonight. I'm really digging this Kurt Cobain stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, it's really been I don't want to call it fun. I've enjoyed it, of course, because as with all of our cases, we want to get into the truth of the matter, and
Yep.
having that space to do that is always enjoyable, and having everyone along with us as we do it, of course, makes it just 10 times better. So,
Yep.
okay, I
Absolutely.
am going to go ahead and bring Dago to the stage if he's ready. Okay, there he is. Hello.
Forget about it.
That was
Bros and
quick.
hoes. Good to see you guys tonight. Thank you for having me again. It's wonderful to be back. Welcome everybody.
Always.
Always, always. Every time you look different again, Logan. What did you do this time?
So yesterday I highlighted my hair and did a spray tan.
Okay, I was gonna say, why
Oh,
do
okay.
she looks different every time
Very
on Sunday.
nice.
So anyway,
I
So
I've
your hair
been
looked a little different.
productive.
Okay.
all right,
Been
there you go.
productive.
There you go. Good to see. Good to see you, Miss Robin, and everybody in the chats. Welcome back, all you amazing moderators, all of you, every one of you through every channel. You guys are all amazing. And again, I know I can speak for everybody when I say this for sure, but none of us would do this the way we do it without you guys. You guys are all so amazing, and thank you all so very much for everything you do. It is great to be here, and I'm kind of excited to close this out tonight on this one and get
Yep.
moving on to the next case we cover. So let's
Oh
do
yeah.
this thing.
There's plenty of those. That's
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
All right. I will get one up here with us. One. How are you?
Evening. How is everyone doing?
Good evening.
Doing well.
Well,
Doing well.
I spent a good portion earlier being a mediator to Candyland. Yes, you heard me right, Candyland. Between my son and my nephew, and I don't know, accusations of cheating, and
Oh no.
I had to.
Were you were the referee?
I was a referee for Candyland. It was a fun experience. I can tell you.
I can imagine. I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall and watch that all play out. That had to have been
As
good.
long as you didn't get stuck in the sugar plum forest, you're good to go, bro.
Yeah. Um.
Oh my gosh.
Am I
So
too
yeah.
loud? Am I too loud? Somebody said, I think in the
No,
chat that I'm too loud.
it sounded good to me.
It's
I don't
it's
think
weird
so.
because I've heard people or I've seen people say that in the chat that your audio seems a little like maybe louder or something. So I'm like, I don't know. To us, all of our audio
Sounds
sounds
fun
like
to
it's the
me.
same. Yeah.
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 How about
Yeah,
now?
no,
Is that better?
see. Sounds fine to me either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
turned it
know.
down a bit. I don't know. I have a dynamic mic
Okay.
that my
Uh.
volume. So
Maybe that's what it is.
I
Depending
don't
on
know.
people's speakers or what they're listening on, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Well,
nice
anyhow,
mug.
uh, do you want to go ahead and read us in one?
Sure. So
All
so
right.
before I begin our intro, say this is our last night covering Kurt Cobain. There's never short of info and things to cover. Tonight we're probably covering a big portion of the, I'd say, meat and potatoes that people want to get into. We have covered some stuff with the shotgun and the gun before, but this is probably some of the stuff I think more so that people wanted to get into, but we wanted to cover the case in a way we really wanted to cover the timeline and really kind of show the aspect of the different players involved. So, all right, is it good to be alive in the den on a Sunday night?
Yeah.
Juliana,
Always.
Jackson, hope you're feeling better, and my beautiful wife. Love you guys. Have a good night. When the silence is too perfect, lower your voice. Not everything wants to be spoken aloud. April 1994. Seattle breathes in slow, shallow pulls. Rain taps the city like a metronome counting down to something inevitable. Behind a closed door, Kurt Cobain stops moving. They call it suicide. One word, heavy, final. And then they ask no more questions. A weapon position where physics hesitates. A body that tells a story only if you're willing to look at it long enough. A note that drifts between goodbye and something unresolved. Toxicology numbers so high they whisper impossibility instead of certainty. But the room goes quiet. Too quiet. Files are closed. Timelines are smoothed. Rough edges sanded down for public consumption. Because chaos is uncomfortable and silence is easier to sell. We do not fill the gaps with noise. We sit inside them. We listen to what lingers in the pauses, the seconds between official statements, the space between logic and conclusion, the absence where answers should live. Was this the final collapse of a wounded artist, or the most convenient ending to a story that refused to behave? On Devil's Advocates, we don't shout theories, we don't chase spectacle, we dim the lights, we slow the clock, we let the silence speak back. Because when a truth is real, it doesn't need volume, it only needs time. Welcome to Devil's Advocates, where the quiet is warming and the shadows are still asking questions. And with that, live from New York, it's Sunday night.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. By the way, real quick, if
Excellent.
I can plug something real fast. Logan, you did a great job last night on the verdict room. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to next week. I didn't get to
It
talk.
was so much fun. What a great show.
Yes, I had a great time last night, and I hope anybody that got to see it, thank you guys for joining us last night. It was awesome. So
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I did pop in there
Yeah, I hopped
for
in.
a while before we headed out, and you guys, I mean, you had a fantastic panel. You
I
really
did.
did. So,
Very grateful for
and
all them.
I'm so happy that everything went so well for you and everything. So that's
It
great.
didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't at first. The beginning of it was a disaster, and I was in a nightmare by myself, locked in here all by myself, freaking out. But
Yeah. I was
other than
watching the
that,
beginning.
I didn't come in
I
until
know.
later on. Oh, oh shoot.
20 minutes before the show started, I my internet went down, and I'm like, well, it never has gone down since I
Oh
got
man.
Wow.
and everything shut
Been there,
down.
done that.
The intro didn't work. The music didn't work. Nothing worked. And I was like, and I had our guest booking with B was sitting back there like, and I was trying to talk to her. She couldn't hear me. I was like, oh my God. I just blew, everything went bad. And then we just started rolling with it and everything worked, it ironed itself out. It was amazing.
And
Kim and
sometimes that's what
Logan.
happens.
Yeah, everybody was amazing. I appreciate you guys so very much for that.
It was so neat to be able to kind of pick Brandy's ear and brain a little bit as far as her thoughts and where she stood. And I know we, for the most part, we all agree on a lot of things, but it's still cool to hear somebody else's opinion when it's something you didn't actually think of before.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Don't worry,
yeah.
WunWun. You'll be joining us too, sir, since you're a law enforcement officer. You're going to join us.
And
I might have a thing or two to say.
yeah, just a couple. No, no, his expertise is very, very valued. That's for sure. So, but yeah, Booking with B, she is so like I love kind of like I haven't seen a lot of her, but what I have seen, she's very just I don't want to call it methodical, but she is so smart. And
Yes.
she does come up with things that I probably would not, So yeah, I mean, I thought the whole panel was just fantastic. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was a
thank you.
really good
It
show.
was amazing. I got super lucky to have these two awesome ladies, typically unique, and Miss Logan, and of course B, and to join me, and Mike, and of course Mike. We don't get to see him often because he's always behind the scenes doing everything, but he's a little camera shy. He's getting back to the point, but he did amazing last night. It was great. So
yeah, you guys did
promise
great.
me next week will be so much better, folks.
There you go.
You were the only one who was freaking out. The rest of us, we were like, we get it. Like either there's a problem with YouTube, there's a problem with StreamYard, there's a problem with the internet, or we all have those issues. So we get
I
it.
am always so worried about what everybody else's experience is. I don't care about what I'm doing or anything. I want everybody else to be overly pleased, and I'm just so very critical of myself. My wife is constantly like, would you calm down and relax? You're gonna have an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Because of this. I said,
I understand that. I understand that. Believe me, I get where you're coming from. So
I always think me freaking out isn't gonna help it any. It is what it is. So might as well just.
Listen, Logan. I tell everybody else around me that, but I don't heed to it myself. Those songs that I write, you guys, and I put out there, you realize, okay, the one I gave for Crimes After Dark, it took me a week to make that one song because I redid it 42 times because I want it to be just right. That's how critical I am of myself. So
I totally hear that. Yep. I tell everyone else, calm down. But then for myself, it's like, chill. I don't know why. But oh well, it is what it is, I guess.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna jump on in here.
Yeah.
And
you could probably put up the first first picture, Pier 1.
All right.
Just
now,
if people haven't seen
just
it.
real quick before I do that. Okay.
Yeah.
The parental advisory is up for a reason. Trigger warning. What we're dealing with tonight can be graphic. We use adult words to talk about adult situations dealing with adult themes. So if you cannot handle crime scene photos and the like, we're not going to get overly graphic, but there's a certain graphic nature to what we're going to be discussing. If that is not your cup of tea, then you may want to tune out. Or if you are around little children, we're not a child-friendly channel, so I'm just letting you know that ahead of time so that there's no question about that. So before I even put anything on the screen, I just wanted to make sure and go over that. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up.
Yeah. So this is kind of showing like an overview of the greenhouse, and so the door that was the letter B there. There was some broken glass apparently. I just showing some of the oversight of some of the pictures. So I don't know, we keep talking about the greenhouse and whatnot. But we'll get we're gonna get more in depth. This is like kind of just like a beginning overview. So I got a
Okay.
bunch of stuff, and Dago has a bunch. So you could take it down if
Well, I'm
you
gonna tell
want.
you
Okay.
guys because I saw somebody in chat say it already. Angie B was
Well,
talking about. I have the full detailed autopsy photos and everything. I'm not showing
yeah,
them to you guys. I'm just letting you know.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Don't
We're
even
not.
ask because I won't put them out here because they are.
Right.
I was in EMS for years, and I'm telling you, still seeing no, I won't do that to
Yeah.
anybody. I'm sorry. So don't
No.
expect it.
I
No.
have a
So
question for all
yeah,
of you, actually.
yeah.
The whole location of him being in the greenhouse, I'm curious what all of your guys' thoughts are just on that alone.
What I read, I think he was. I don't think necessarily he was killed there. I think the body. I think that I based on this peer review, like I mean, these guys that did this study and the info they put. And we're gonna touch on that a little bit later. With some of the blood that was on the bottom of his pants, and also, they're also something with like the way his shorts and stuff were riding up on him. It definitely appears that he was dragged. I don't
Right.
know where he was killed, but I don't think it somehow. I don't think the whole thing happened there. He was
It.
dragged. It was a
Yeah,
setup.
because
I
it seems to me like he was put there because it was an out of the way place. It wasn't a
Yeah,
place that most people may have thought of to go to immediately. That's kind of
yeah,
my thought about that.
I think he was killed there, but not the way we see him, the way he was found. I don't at all, and I still believe there were at least two other people in that room with him for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um,
yeah,
and I think he was moved around in the greenhouse area because if you remember when Tom and Dylan went to the house looking for him on the day before, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I
yeah,
get lost with this stuff. Anyway,
Yep.
Dylan started to go. He kept looking at the greenhouse. He kind of pointed his body in
Hmm.
that direction, but didn't go there. And that's again because I believe he knew Kurt was up there and what had happened because he was part of it, in my opinion. So, um, I think that he was trying to keep Tom from going there for a period of time because he was nervous about what he knew. Okay, I think there was a timeline on this that
probably.
Courtney, again, I'll just
Or
say Courtney
yeah,
allegedly had put into play for this. This is my opinion. So,
or maybe
Hmm.
maybe he thought it wasn't fully set up yet to
or
reveal
whatever.
it.
I think
Right,
I
right.
think he played his part in it, and there
Yeah.
were others that played their part. I'll just put it that way. So,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give a little brief. This is, where so there was a peer review study that was done. I know I'm not going to read the peer review. No one, no one wants to hear the peer review. However, I'm going to bring stuff out from the peer review. But this is this was done recently. So I did put. I don't know how we could do it. I did put in our private chat. I put a link to it. Amanda actually, I downloaded the whole file. It's in our Discord under documents for Kurt Cobain. So if you want to download it, I think it's about 25 megabytes or so. So the whole peer review is there. What this
Right.
was, it's an underlying study reference. It was the peer review research paper published in 2025. It was in the International Journal of Forensic Sciences, and the title, it's called A Multidisciplinary Analysis of the Kurt Cobain Death, published in International Journal of Forensic Sciences, Volume 10, Issue 4. It was November 6, 2025. Authors, just so you know, I don't know if you guys, it's Brian R. Burnett, Michael Gregory, Felice Nunziata, Pietro Zuccarello, Cataldo Ruffino, Gabrielle Rotter, and Michelle Wilkins. This study re-examined Cobain's autopsy data, toxicology, and crime scene photos, and identifies multiple points the authors say are inconsistent with a straightforward suicide ruling. Key key points summarized from the article, basically, and we're going to get into more depth. High heroin levels and organ damage, more consistent with overdose physiology than instantaneous ballistic trauma. There's also suggest objects at the scene appear unusually orderly, and there's questions about the suicide notes, stylistic differences in staging of the scene. However, I'll make this because people I know are going to ask. Despite the new paper's claims, the King County Medical Examiner's Office and Seattle Police Department have publicly reaffirmed that Kurt Cobain's death was ruled suicide in 1994, and the case remains closed. This formal position has been reiterated by authorities in statements issued in early 2026. So, and then just a real quick summary. The paper, Multidisciplinary Analysis of the Kurt Cobain Death, argues that Kurt Cobain's 1994 death was not a suicide, but a homicide staged to appear as one. Using newly released materials, autopsy records, firearm tool mark analysis, toxicology data, and crime scene photographs, the authors reassessed the official conclusion reached by the Seattle Police Department, SPD, and King County Medical Examiner. The study concludes that multiple independent forensic disciplines, ballistics, blood stain pattern analysis, wound trajectory, toxicology, firearm mechanics, and scene reconstruction all conflict with the suicide narrative and instead align with a homicide scenario in which Cobain was incapacitated with heroin, shot intraorally, and then repositioned and staged. So that's basically in a nutshell. That's what the peer
they're
review.
At this point, going along with what WunWun has said, guys, that they have come to the recent disclosure of the fact that there's at the minimum 5 pieces of evidence that has convinced multiple forensic investigators at this point, multiple, not just the ones that covered it, but many other people, that Kurt was murdered, that he didn't kill himself, folks. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pieces of information within the autopsy that they've re-looked at it again, and they're saying no, like that's not, no, it just doesn't match up. So
right.
What are the
Dago, you want?
pieces-
Oh, go ahead.
What are
Logan.
the pieces of evidence, or let's say, what's your top piece of evidence that makes you question that it was not a unaliving? And mine is the no prints on the pen. That's huge for me.
There's so many.
There's so many. Yeah. I mean, that's a big one.
Something here. Okay. So the testing that they did on the gun. Okay. The positioning of the body after the gun was fired. Actually, let me show you something here if you guys don't mind. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
1 second, you guys.
I know that there's so much. I'd say he had, I'm sure, such a high tolerance of heroin. I get that, but I just, on the amount that he had in his system, I don't see how, based on what what the experts are showing, how he would have been able to position the gun in that way.
Yeah, because the gun was positioned weird.
I mean, it was ridiculous amount. I know he was a steady heroin user and he had high tolerance, but I just don't. And then the other stuff.
To have the
go ahead.
stability that he had to have with the gun, to position it the way he did, for it to fire off the right way, to cause the damage it caused to his body with the amount of heroin. I see what that means. And I know when we talked last week, Logan did bring up some good points with somebody that is a regular user per se. It does.
Yeah.
Your tolerance changes. Agreed. But that they basically stated that when the trigger was pulled on this gun, I've even looked at this multiple different ways to see if this makes sense. It doesn't. They said the gun basically went off jumped up in the air, spun, and landed to the left side of his body.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't work that way, you guys. It
Guns
just
don't
doesn't.
do that.
Okay, they don't do that. The gun should have been on the other side of his body based on the whole trajectory of everything and so on and so forth. The trajectory doesn't match the positioning of the gun. And I've looked at the photos, folks. Like I told you, I have the actual photos and I've looked at them. I've seen crime scenes. Okay, I'll be honest with
Oh,
you.
this is a good comment. But he had just also gone out
Yes.
of rehab, so his tolerance was slightly less.
Which is true. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
But what
And he
is
was-
just? Was that just like a week ago or a month ago? Because it takes 1 or 2 days to get your tolerance back up.
It was like the totality, I think, of his usage had been like a week, I think. Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Yeah,
on that one.
somewhere in that area.
Right. It was like 5 to 7 days. I can't remember exact time. And I don't know if that's true. It's based on the reports that we were given.
Right.
So,
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
but I've seen many, unfortunately, with what I used to do, I've seen a lot of suicides. Okay. Truly and honestly, a lot of them done with firearms, different versions of firearms. And when I looked at the photographs, after knowing the positioning of the way the gun was sitting, so on and so forth, and how everything worked itself out, seeing his body positioned the way it was after the fact, that don't line up. Where the gun was doesn't line up. The injury to his body does not match to the positioning of the gun either. All of that, none of it lines up the right way for a suicide. No. Okay.
No.
Now, here's my other thing to you guys. I'm going to bring up real quick. As we've looked into this before, and I looked into this many times. Kurt Cobain was a gun collector. Okay. Mm-hmm. He had many firearms, folks. There was really, truly no reason to go buy another rifle. The man had multiple guns, and he also had handguns, rifles, other types of like shotguns, all sorts of things.
Right.
If you have access to handguns that are so much easier to use, and you plan on taking your life, why would you have somebody else go buy another one? Give it to you, the hardest version of the type of weapon to use to take your own life, instead of just grabbing one of your handguns and doing it that way.
Right.
Nobody brings that to the table. They don't ever talk about that because he did have them. We found that out.
Right.
Wasn't that his only gun that was actually sitting out though, so that somebody else would have access to it?
That one was the story is that one was purchased by Dylan.
Right.
Okay. I can't remember the day exactly, but it was a few days beforehand, so on and so forth. But it was a large gun, very large gun. Kurt's not a very large frame person. He wasn't super tall. No. He didn't have super long arms. Okay. So to do something like that, okay, a shotgun, I'm sorry, I didn't phrase it right, but I was just trying to say to do something like what he did in the positioning that he was sitting in doesn't make any sense to use. That was a very long barreled shotgun. If you guys saw the thing, it was just a large gun, and it just doesn't make sense that you would set yourself up like that, struggle with what you're doing to do what you did, rather than just going and grabbing one of your handguns or something else to do it with. Okay.
That's what I was saying. That wasn't that the only gun sitting out that where other people would have access to it?
I mean, from my understanding.
Yeah. Possibly. Yeah.
And that, no, I see what you're saying. My point is that if he truly did this, he wouldn't have done it that way. But yeah, what you're saying absolutely is correct. Yes.
No.
Offset said that the 20 gauge it had an anti-suicide device on it. Just saying.
What's that?
If I know what he's talking about, I may be wrong, but it has something to do with the trigger guard and things like that. Like you cannot position it a certain type of way to do what supposedly was done. So
got it.
Right.
But again, like I said, the way the scene was set, the gun was on the wrong side of his body completely. Just basic stuff. I'll tell you right now, if it would have happened the way that they said, it just doesn't work that way. A gun doesn't jump up in the air, spin in circles, and land on the other side like that. It just doesn't work. It had to be shouldered. That's what it was. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So talking about the heroin levels, which we've made. So just because we started off with that, so in forensic toxicology, functional capacity is evaluated separately from survival thresholds. So heroin rapidly converts to 6-monoacetylmorphine. It's 6-MAM they call it, and morphine. This is an important point. At very high levels, the brainstem's respiratory drive is suppressed before complete unconsciousness. So this would create a dangerous dropout zone where a person can lose posture suddenly. So what they emphasized in the study was not just that the levels were high, but that they fell into a range where fine motor sequencing was completely unreliable. So what would be considered in fine motor sequencing that would be loading a firearm, stabilizing it, positioning it anatomically, applying a controlled trigger pressure. If coordination collapses unpredictably at that level, the suicide model requires exceptional tolerance and uninterrupted execution before sudden incapacitation. So that combination is possible, but statistically very narrow. So,
Right. And you
there's
wouldn't
always
be able
stuff.
to
Yeah, go ahead.
you wouldn't be able to, neatly put away your paraphernalia and then pick up the weapon and discharge it in such a manner if you're already fairly incapacitated to the point where fine motor skills are difficult to complete.
If you want to
So,
pull that photograph real quick, Robin, it just shows the one detective holding the actual shotgun itself.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, you have one too.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So look at the length of this, guys. And
yeah.
first off, they tried to say that none of that blood rust was on there. You can see it in the photograph all over the end of it. Okay. But whatever. That's not important. But there
Right.
again, the length of this is huge. Okay. It's very long. It's got the extended
Yep.
barrel on it, all that. And for him to reach his hand down here, the way it was, it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't at all. Okay.
No.
And to have here's my thing. And I know that there's disagreements about the heroin amount, but even to have that much in your system, to be able to concentrate and focus on what he had to do to keep this gun in the right position to do this is a problem for me, is all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the next, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead, Robin. I was just
Well,
wanting to point that out.
Oh,
yeah.
I wasn't saying anything.
No, I was gonna say the one of the things of their study that they were showing was they're basically trying to prove how comparing overdose physiology versus ballistic trauma, which is extremely interesting.
Yes.
we
And yes,
got
that's the actual shotgun itself, you guys, the one that was used.
Yeah. Yep, we have a super chat here
Yeah.
from McCready Jamie.
Who's that?
There have been numerous copycat incidents due to Kurt's alleged actions. If raising awareness that he didn't do it can help prevent one more tragedy, then the effort is unquestionably worthwhile, which is
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep. Thank
So-
you very much.
This goes along with the heroin stuff. So I'll throw it in there, and then getting to the shotgun length and stuff that you're talking about, Dago.
Go ahead.
So
We
they
have another gift here.
ooh,
Thank you, Bianca. We got
very
5 new
nice.
turtles in the house. Woo woo. Bianca always showing out
Nice.
over here. Thank you so much.
Nice.
So medical examiners analyze physiological timelines, not just the cause of death. So they're saying opioid overdose causes hypoventilation, oxygen deprivation, fluid leakage into alveoli, which is pulmonary edema, or progressive cellular distress. Shotgun trauma causes immediate catastrophic injury, near instant circulatory collapse, minimal prolonged hypoxic indicators. So the study, they basically argued that the oxygen deprivation was not instantaneous, and implying that physiological stress preceded the gunshot. So
Right.
why is that? So why is that a big deal? Because so again, these are forensic experts or whatever doing their study. They're basically saying, based on their analysis, they're saying that they believe with the level of heroin that was injected in him, and maybe he took some of it himself, but I believe possibly someone put more in him if he didn't take any of it himself, which is possible. They're saying based on the based on the info that we have from the forensics, that there's evidence that shows that the gunshot happened after it preceded after from certain physiological stuff that happened to his body. That's what
Right.
just in a nutshell, without getting too medically complicated.
And going along with what WunWun's saying, you guys, with the heroin stuff and all that, it says that his sleeves were rolled back. The heroin kit was found several feet away from him, containing capped syringes. And I've told you guys
we
how
got
that bothers me.
we got a
Cotton bud.
picture of that.
Yeah.
If you want to show it, Robin, somewhere. I know it's in there somewhere.
Pieces of black heroin of roughly equal size. And it says in here, they want us to believe that he capped the needles, put everything back in order after
I'm looking for it.
3 times, guys.
Just tell me the number.
Yeah, I know.
And it says, because that's what someone does while they're dying. Wilkins, who was one of the
12
investigators.
Okay.
Actually, picture Pier 12.
I mean, logically, it makes sense, right? You have a really, really high amount in your system, so you wouldn't be able to function correctly, if at all. I get that. It makes sense logically to me, except for just working in that field for so many years. I would just have to know the baseline, what he was at the day before when he used, what he was at the day before.
Yeah. Right, I get that.
I would have to know that to really get a gauge on, could that incapacitate?
Let me ask you too, Logan, since you brought that up. So being that they found it, the kit, they call him a kit, you know what I mean? Where he kept his needles, the heroin, the cotton swabs, all that stuff was all nice and neatly packed back in this box several feet away from where they found his body. And I think it was Detective Wilkins said suicides are messy. This was a very clean scene. Everything looked like it was very neatly organized and put away from him, other than the rifle being next to him. If somebody uses and they have a plan to do this to themselves, do you see that being the scene looking that way, in your opinion?
So, yes. Okay, first of all, no, but yes. So the recapping of the needles and having them a couple feet away from him, completely normal. I would say absolutely that can happen. But then walking and getting the gun and all of that, no. Like, if he had that much in his system to incapacitate him, he wouldn't have had time to get the gun and stuff. He would have time to recap the needles and maybe set that aside, but that would be it.
Right, there it is. Yeah. And that
okay, hold on. Second of all, nobody's gonna, is that the cotton or is that the actual drug?
The black tar heroin. So that's
it's the black tar, which is not usually left.
It wouldn't be left in there.
Right.
That could just be a dirty cotton though as well.
And there's a piece sitting on the spoon. The cotton's right there in the left of the tip of the spoon. You see it there?
Oh, that's
I believe that I was told that was the cotton, and the swabs are here. And
nobody's gonna have nobody leaves the drug in the spoon. That's not how that works.
Exactly.
Right. So to me, that looks like they weren't sure if that amount was going to kill him, so they were going to do it again, but didn't need to.
Right, and there's still like what 1, 2, 3 more pieces in that box as well. Oh, 4. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces left. 5 is a tiny piece in the top too. So
I don't think people they're usually bagged up.
That's what I thought. You don't take it all out of the bag and then leave it all lay around like you know.
Right.
Then you have a chance of losing it or dropping it or whatever.
Right. And they said that they showed fluid in his lungs, bleeding in his eyes, and damage to the brain and the liver. So
It
I don't
sounds to me like they tried several different ways. It sounds to me like maybe they tried first injecting him. Maybe that didn't work the way they thought. So maybe they were going to do it again, and that's why it was left this way, but then maybe tried to fight him or beat him or whatever. And that's why maybe he had some damage
know
to
what?
the livers and stuff. Like it seems like it was a more of a drawn out thing,
I
and several
wondered.
different things happened.
Yeah, there you go. I wondered if they did something to him beforehand to incapacitate him so they could control him more. And then, okay, how are we going to cover this up? How are we going to make this look like blah, blah, blah? And they did multiple things, maybe. That's what, with what you're saying, that does make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe they did something to knock him out or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fluid in the lungs and all that kind of stuff too. I just wonder, like, I truly believe it was a hot shot, but there's other things I think that with the autopsy report that were like ignored initially, the initial autopsy report. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
So
Yep.
so then to go along kind of like with what Logan was saying there. So if hypoxia preceded trauma, cognitive impairment likely existed before the gunshot,
Yes.
it raises questions about consciousness, intent, and capacity. This challenges sequence certainty, but not cause alone. So,
and it says, okay, here's one instance of what I'm talking about. The eye bleeding and organ damage suggested that his body may have been starved of oxygen.
yes,
which likely did not happen from gunshot alone. So
exactly.
could somebody, I mean, I don't know if there was any markings on his neck or anything like that, but could somebody have suffocated him or like, with a pillow or a rag or a towel or something beforehand and then did these things with that? Well, that's kind of what my thought has been on this when I read that. So I just wonder, like WunWun said a little bit ago, that it looks as though he may have been deceased before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just that one piece still like in the spoon is
Uh-huh.
so odd to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You wouldn't find
Yep.
that. You would not find.
No.
You're right. 1,000%.
That's so strange.
But
Yeah.
I don't, if you don't know info about heroin and about that kind of stuff, but law enforcement should know. I mean, they definitely know. I mean,
Yeah, you'd think so. That part is
Yeah.
just really odd
And
to
then
me.
one more piece to this, it says that while brain injuries can sometimes stop breathing, this usually happens shortly after a traumatic experience, okay? And
Right.
with such a severe injury, some blood in the airways would normally be expected. That's understandable. That's fine. But
Yeah.
the autopsy report suggested that his brainstem, now this is what was interesting to me with what my knowledge is of certain medical things, that his brainstem, which controls breathing, was likely not damaged. And
Right.
his arm position also indicated that he did not have the rigid posturing usually seen with a brainstem injury. It doesn't line up. It just doesn't match up with what it should have been. Okay.
Right.
No.
Right. Exactly. So So going along with what you're saying here with the shotgun length and biomechanics, the peer review, they did a study basically that focused on it's called musculoskeletal feasibility under impairment.
Yes.
The weapon length relative to arm reach, wrist angle, shoulder stability creates a mechanically unstable configuration. So under opioid influence, what they call proprioception, sense of limb position degrades early, muscle tone decreases, tremor and misalignment increase. And the study argues that maintaining that posture long enough to execute the act cleanly would require stable neuromuscular control, which is inconsistent with the toxicological state described, which is basically what we're getting at.
We had a good question too. Was there any lividity? Did they mention anything about lividity?
Say anything in anything I read about any kind of lividity.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that.
Because that would sure tell us if he was moved afterwards too.
Of of course.
Yeah.
But I think based on the time period in between, like from the time that it happened until they found him, there was a lot of time that probably passed.
Right.
So therefore, in turn, it's going to change the ability with that stuff. You know what I mean?
But again, it doesn't say he couldn't do it, but it says the body mechanics do not align well with the physiological condition. So
they're really stressing. This Wilkins gentleman is arguing at this point that he truly believes that Cobain may have physically been incapacitated before any of that happened. So that's a big part of this. Okay, why that was ignored, I could tell you why, I believe, but I don't have the true answer to it.
And now we're at another big part, with being that we're talking about the gun and the shotgun. So I'm sure you have stuff on this as well, Dago. There's minimal blood spatter on his hands. And shotgun discharges at close range would produce back spatter toward the shooter, aerialized tissue, and microscopic blood mist. A hand near the muzzle typically acquires trace biological material, even if clothing absorbs most visible blood. So in this study, they basically emphasized there was an absence of detectable trace, not dramatic blood. And they basically interpreted this that his hand was not in that position at discharge. The angle or obstruction prevented contact, and the weapon or body position changed post-discharge. Each possibility introduces uncertainty into the reconstruction. So a big part that they were talking about was his left hand. His left hand, was supposedly was on the gun, and blowback. There should be blood spatter on his left hand, and I believe the only thing that he had on his left hand, he had a blood, like, I don't know what you call it, blood spot or something on his thumb.
It was just this is a blow dart thing, guys. Don't get freaked out. I want to show you something. It's not a gun. It looks like the barrel, so that's why I'm using this. His hand should have been covered. His left hand should have been completely covered. Okay, and all he had a speck of blood right here,
which it probably got from when they moved his hand in position.
Yeah. So let's say this is the end of the shotgun. Okay, his hand was holding this like this. When he pulled the trigger, if he did this the way he did, this should have been covered. Okay, completely, even up to parts of his arm. It all should have been covered. There was nothing on his hand.
No.
Nothing. So once again, take it for what it is. And if you look at that photograph of the end of the shotgun, that doctor that was friends with Courtney that tried to come out and say, well, there was no blood rust on the gun. If you look at this photograph, this is an actual photograph, folks, which I don't know if this idiot thought anybody was not going to see or what. Pull that up real fast, if you don't mind. It's just the end of the shotgun. Do you see all this right here? All of this right here?
Yeah.
That's stuff that the man's saying doesn't exist on the gun. It's right there in front of us. So, as it should be, okay? From what he did, as it should be. Because he was bleeding to some aspect, but not enough. It wasn't on his body, okay? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's overspray from, the way they explain this, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say. The spatter from, if you're standing at somebody like close range of somebody, when you pull that trigger, it's going to come back towards you, the person that pulled the trigger, right?
Right.
Now, if this was done the way they're telling you, this whole thing would be covered. All of it. Okay. And it's not. It's just that spot there.
No.
Down through here. And like he tried to say, the Emmy that was friends with Courtney said there was none on the barrel of the gun. Well, you're looking at it right now. It's there.
It was a lie.
It's just one more lie is all I'm saying.
Did they do gunshot residue on his hands at all?
On Kurt's
test? Yeah,
there was nothing there. From what I found there, what I read earlier on this, the first time I ever read it, there was none.
Jeez.
But they still said he did it. Right.
So there's nothing. There's nothing there. So I wanted somebody to show me how he did this, how this all
Right.
ended the way it did, because there was nothing. Now I read one article that said but it came from that same doctor, said that they couldn't do the GSR testing on his hands or something. Why? That's why. Then I read another article that said they never even did it because they couldn't do it. Then I read an article that said yes they did, and nothing showed.
Right.
Yeah, so why all the inconsistency over what they did or didn't do?
Right.
And again,
Here we go again.
Right. So
if you would read into, there was an article I read about 5 years ago that
yeah.
somebody measured the length of his arms, and there's no way in hell he could have done it. So there's that too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Jen's talking about, yeah.
Let me show this real.
Lane Staley. Lane Staley's the lead singer from Alice in Chains, was that he had so many issues with this and didn't believe this at all. So,
All right. So this is what we're talking about here with his left hand. All right. This is left hand at the scene. The lack of back spatter on the dorsal surface of the hand indicate that his left hand was not holding the shotgun barrel near the mouth when it discharged. His long sleeve shirt likely had been pulled up to his upper arm by the SPD detectives when the image was taken. Higher magnification of this, probable blood transfer indicating the thumb came into contact with wet blood after a bleeding event, likely when it was applied to wet blood on the shotgun barrel. So this is all what we were just talking about, just to show. So this is
There's
the
no
picture.
way that there would be nothing on his hand.
Yeah,
that
see, look at that.
wristband,
Right.
The
Right, look at
watch,
that. Exactly.
No freaking, not a speck. No way.
Nope.
Nope.
Just his thumb.
Just up on the thumb.
Just his
That's
thumb.
it.
right, like I said, and
Crazy,
his
right?
entire hand should have been covered with blood, you guys. The entire hand.
Right.
No way.
Even up his wrist,
And it
somebody
wasn't.
stated it should have came all the way up to here. Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're holding this right here, the impact comes from the barrel, hits the target, which is very close to where your hand's at, and comes back. We already know how blood spatter works, folks. It would have been all over this. Okay.
Yep.
There's the problem.
Right.
Wow.
So another thing where we still, there's so much stuff with the gun. We showed a few weeks ago, and it's just to kind of mention it a bit. Dago had showed a little video. We can't not mention the shell ejection and the weapon orientation as well. So spent shells are critical because they're unaffected by emotion and they're governed by physics alone. Shell ejection depends on bolt cycling, orientation of the weapon, and gravity at the moment of discharge. What they were claiming in the study, that the shell's resting position conflicts with the documented grip and orientation, suggesting movement was done after it was fired. So what this comes down to for forensically would be if passive objects don't align mechanically, investigators must consider scene disturbance, repositioning, or incomplete documentation. This affects scene integrity, confidence. So we have a picture.
And
Let me
real quick,
see.
we have a comment here. Says,
Yeah.
I or you, after knowing Lane's forever girlfriend to Tone's mom for years, there's so much more to this story. Thank you very much, wise lady, young mind, for the gift. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
There's the other part of that too. Let me know whenever you're done, WunWun. I have another portion to add to that whenever you're done with
yeah. So this is kind of showing possibly different positions. Let me see. Can't really get it bigger, but
And I'm sorry to keep that up over your face, Dago, but I just, with what we're showing, I'm not trying to obscure you from view. I just want to make it very clear that what we're dealing with is sensitive information, so that everyone is aware
You don't
if
have
they
to
join
explain it,
us
Robin.
midstream.
You're
Okay.
perfectly
Right. So these are Cobain suicide scenario simulations of the shotgun position. So the simulation shotgun had the same dimensions as Cobain's shotgun. The compensator muzzle in these simulations was not in contact with the hard pallet due to the volunteer's difficulty in attaining that position. The trigger could be reached in both suicide scenarios with the shotgun trigger either up or down, even when the compensator muzzle was not in contact with the hard pallet. The left hand, which was gripping the shotgun barrel when Cobain was found, should have again blood spatter if that was the position it was in when the shotgun discharged. It did not. So if you look at the shotgun ventral side up, meaning trigger up, simulates the suicide shotgun position prior to discharge at the death scene. B is the dorsal side up, trigger down position of the shotgun in the suicide scenario. This was not the shotgun position when the body was found, but was the position where the back spatter occurred. C is a close up of the simulation suicide victim. Arrows indicate the back spatter projection onto the lateral and part of the dorsal hand in the suicide scenario. The shotgun barrel on the other side of the hand near the receiver should not have received back spatter in the suicide scenario, yet it had been bloodstained. So that was just wanted to kind of really cover the there's too much stuff. Like this is it's almost like you correlate to this some of this stuff to like like a Idaho 4. Like if there was like one or two things, I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay, maybe a possible coincidence, but there's too many inconsistencies. And one in one like
totality
it
just
right.
outweighs probability.
Well, his
Exactly.
prints weren't even found on the gun, right?
No.
His prints weren't on the gun or the pen that wrote the suicide note either, which is odd because he should have been the last one to touch both of those.
Right. Absolutely. Okay.
So then, some other stuff, like we were talking about the black tar and the needles there in the little kit. The orderly drug paraphernalia placement. This inconsistency centers on behavioral sequence, not aesthetics. Opioid use at lethal levels typically results in sudden physical collapse, loss of postural control, disruption of nearby objects. They noted in the study that the paraphernalia appeared intentionally placed, not scattered or displaced. So they're saying this suggests either organization occurred before advanced intoxication, raising timing questions, or items were arranged after incapacitation. Neither interpretation is fatal to suicide, but both complicated.
Yeah, I just don't see any way that he would have been capable to pull that off.
It's not, and not to keep bringing this part up either, but it's not even so much that his prints weren't on the gun or the pen. It's that nobody's prints were on. So nobody ever used that pen. Nobody ever touched that.
Right.
Like, no, it was
Right.
all
They
of
had
that stuff
been
was
wiped
clearly
down.
wiped down. Right.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
They even were saying that his prints weren't on his own heroin kit either, which is crazy.
Yeah, you got to ask why that would be.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
and another point that was made with this is in turn, okay, and people see it different ways. I understand. It says so he's dying of an overdose. He's basically in a coma based on the amount of heroin that he had taken per se. We'll just say that, okay. And this is from the other Dr. Wilkinson. And he's holding this gun up to be able to reach the trigger to get it near his mouth. Doesn't make sense because of the weight and all that stuff. So there's that part we talked about already.
Right.
They absolutely replicated everything with this, and none of it worked out. So one of the big points of this is and he states it, he goes, so not only is there a shell where it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be a shell at all. Okay. Like
right, because of how he was holding it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
so
he was holding it, it would have right.
All right. And then the items were found on him. I don't know if you guys, these are the things that they found when they found him. I don't know if you guys saw this photograph or not, but there you go, Robin. This was all the stuff that he had on him. And again, if he was planning on doing something like this to himself, it's very hard to believe that he would have all this stuff on him. You know what I'm saying? He would just, a lot of people that do something like this, they like, I'm not saying everybody, so don't quote me on that, but a lot of people, they kind of organize their life a little bit before they do something like this in some aspects. This looks like he was like, just like hanging out like a normal day. He had all this stuff on him. And the box is obviously not on him, but all these other things were, his wallet was in his pocket, his cigarettes and stuff were in his pocket. Oh, it had his sunglasses on him. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you would think that they would like remove things from themselves, set them aside separately from what I've seen from different aspects of it. But everything's different. I get that. It doesn't match up. It's all I'm saying in some aspects, especially with somebody like Kurt Cobain, in my opinion. He was very specific, for lack of better terms, I guess. Okay. Of course, we've seen that, so on and so forth.
Right.
But in that was the other part too. I think WunWun, did you speak on that, where the blood patterns suggesting the body may have been moved and all that kind of stuff too?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm gonna right. Well, right. There was blood on his bottom of his pants, which they think that that may be.
There was no blood on the rest of his shirt, but there was a big blood stain on the bottom of his shirt, which was
so weird. One of the big things going by what these forensic experts are saying too is that so blood that coming down, there was no blood that appeared. When you have blood that drips down, it comes down, right? Obviously, gravity pulls the blood. That it didn't appear to be blood came like down his face. It was like blood just kind of like he did have blood on his shirt. So they're basically saying like if he would have killed himself with the shotgun, you should have seen there should have been lines of blood too coming down his face that would have
in his shirt. Yeah,
right. It would have come down
here,
right. The gravity should have pulled some blood, and he didn't have that. He did have blood on his clothes. He had blood on the bottom of his pants. I think
by the cuff part. Yeah,
we have a picture of that actually.
But not on his damn hand where it was right next to the wound. Stop.
And there was nothing here. There should have been blood all through here. There was nothing there, but it was on the very bottom of his shirt. There was a big blood stain. How does that make any sense?
Yeah.
When the injury's up here, there should be blood all over the shirt up here, but there wasn't any. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It's very strange, the whole thing. And
there was so weird.
And one pointed out before too that like, and not to be weird, but like the way his underwear and his pants were on him, there was like, it looked like as though he was dragged. Okay,
right,
how ride up. That's exactly
right.
Like. Not like he was sitting in that position the whole time.
So
it's very strange.
Yeah. So they said the left lower pant and foot of Cobain after processing The image processing revealed bloodstains on the paint inset, enlargement of the stained pant area showing detail. The bloodstains are in the discrete isolate areas. The red arrow indicates the movement direction of the fold when it overlapped the fabric, which created a partial stain void between arrowheads. So that's where it was like on the bottom of his pants there. But yeah, so he got blood got all the way down here. Like exactly, I know,
but none up here.
I know when you have, you could, think of like obviously like someone firing a gun is a mini explosion, right? So stuff goes all over the place. But how could he have nothing on his hand that was holding closest to, his head, but he has blood on his pant leg? Like
again, you're holding a barrel right here. How? It should have been all down his hand and his arm, and there was nothing but one little spot right here.
That does not make any sense.
Nothing.
No.
None. And I've seen these things in person, folks, and I'm like, what? How? Okay. How do you get pants on or blood on the bottom part of your pants and nothing up here?
Yep.
That doesn't make
Hey,
sense.
JJ.
It don't. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I see.
And if his pants were folded in one area, like it showed at the bottom, and blood got on it, then he would have had to move afterward for that part of his pants to become unfolded to see it like that.
Thank you.
To see the
Yeah.
void of the blood.
There's so many things with this, you guys, that say no.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. This is good. This is a good depiction here too.
So this was one of their analysis that they were looking at here, saying like how did the blood? So you see the arrows. See, so if you look at B, right, you see how they're kind of they're showing if you were shot and you were just laying there. See the gravity. See gravity you should see lines of blood somehow for gravity pulling the blood down, but if he was shot, then you just before, like without reading this, if you look at C, if he was somehow incapacitated or shot, and if he was dragged, like this was like maybe an example of being dragged. You would see how the blood would go right onto his shirt there.
And that's a good point, WunWun. If you look, keep that picture there. I can't show you, but if you look at the shirt tails on his shirt, okay, it's almost like he was leaning over, bleeding onto his shirt, because there's no blood up at the top, but down at the bottom shirt tails, there's a big blood stain. Like they're holding him, like his head was leaned over and he bled onto that part of his shirt, but it's nowhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you saw, guys, I'm telling you, if you saw what the injury looks like, there should be blood all over his face, and there's not. That's the weird part. Like WunWun keeps saying,
right?
The drips and stuff. There's nothing like that. It doesn't make
so
sense.
like it says here, B would be it's a simulation of the blood flow from Cobain's mouth, nose, and ear canal if he had remained on the floor for after a shotgun discharge.
Exactly.
The blood would have flowed only onto the floor and would pool on the floor under his head and around it, not onto his shirt. But then you look at C, it's a simulation demonstrating the position of Cobain's head and bleeding flow direction when his body was picked up from the floor. Any bleeding with the shifting of his head would be onto the front of his undershirt and shirt, which had been blood-soaked. Following the action here, another assailant would have picked up Cobain's feet, which evidence shows occurred, and his head would have remained in this position during the carrying of his body. So this is why they believe he was kind of carried, because of how the blood flow, how the blood that he has on his clothes.
Yep. So. Absolutely. And by the way,
I thought
I was 19 years old in 94, you guys. I feel so old right now. So old. 19 years old. Jesus.
Just a like a little side thing. I'm not going to go into a whole big thing because I'm just mentioning stuff from the peer review. They mentioned the suicide note. Obviously, Robin did a great job covering it. They examined the narrative continuity, emotional trajectory, and semantic focus. The note reportedly largely addresses identity, burnout, and music, and then all of a sudden it shifts abruptly at the end to finality. In suicide notes, escalation usually progresses gradually with increasing despair language. They're basically arguing that the abrupt tonal shift it weakens the note's value as conclusive proof of suicidal intent. This doesn't invalidate the note, but reduces its evidentiary weight. That's what they basically came to the conclusion of with the note. They addressed you mentioned the fingerprints, the absence of fingerprints. Fingerprints do degrade due to moisture handling, surface texture. However, when the weapon is central to the ruling, multiple surfaces are involved. Absence becomes contextually relevant. Negative evidence alone proves nothing, but combined with other inconsistencies, it fails to reinforce the suicide narrative. So again, it's like all of this stuff, together, painting the picture. So
There's was it you, Logan, that asked about the toxicology report?
I think we talked about
think
that a
so.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just found my copy of the one up backstage, Robin.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Pull
That
up.
way you could probably look at the levels of everything that they tested. It's hard to read, and so it's kind of old, but let me see if there we go.
So, and this was an interesting thing too. Before you, since we talked about the muzzle angle, which we were talking about, actually has. So the shotgun muzzle contacted the superior hard palate at an angle of 35 degrees. In looking at forensic literature, typical, again, this is not absolute. Typical suicide angles, it's usually 60 degrees. And typical homicide angle would be 90 degrees. So it's just interesting. Cobain's muzzle angle fits neither category. So a long shotgun cannot easily be self-positioned at this angle without external support. Why this matters? The angle suggests external manipulation of the firearm, and the authors argue it is more consistent with a weapon being forced into position. So I thought that was interesting.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Are you getting anything from that? It's kind of inconclusive to me. It doesn't show everything I think it should, but
yeah, no, it does. I would expect to see other stuff,
and this is the original that came from Dr. Friend, as I call him. So yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, the lack of detail is telling.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's the determination from the medical examiner per se, from that, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into.
If you don't have it, I'll send it to you. It's up to you. If you
Yeah,
want it.
no, I don't have it.
Okay.
Actually, I've never actually looked into the Kurt Cobain case, so this is all very raw for me. Like
I'll send everything I have to you if you want it, and you can go through it at your leisure.
Yeah.
And just
autopsy photos and stuff. I would
he said
only because I'm really into like
the very, very gore. And that's one more thing I'll say. Yeah, I'll send it all to you, Logan. No problem.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, not for any morbid reason, but
right. When you look at this is just my own personal opinion, okay? When you look at the position they claimed that the shotgun was in, and then you look at what you see from the injury, it doesn't look right. There should be a lot more missing than what there is. I'll put it that way without trying to be too gory, okay? And it's only on mostly like one side. And it should be, if you have this positioned like this, it should be a completely different look, in my opinion. From things I've actually physically seen, it doesn't match. It just doesn't match. It looks to me, and this is my opinion, it looks to me like a side shot, if that makes any sense. Like it came from the side, not
Yeah.
from, okay.
Right.
So, and when you look at the photographs, I'm telling you, you'll look at it and go, oh my God, okay, I see it now.
Right.
It's just clear cut because based on what they told us and the way they found him, it was a frontal entry through the mouth area, pointing upwards towards the palate. I can't think of the word right now, but anyway, this doesn't look that way at all. It just doesn't. I've seen those before, okay, with the same circumstances, and it looks like a side shot. Truly, it does. So,
if it's
exactly the wrong side exit. Angie just said it. The wrong side is exit. 100%.
Yeah. But I think the key again is that the lack of the back spatter and the blood spatter is.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean,
No.
I know WunWun's been on scenes like this. I've seen many of them.
Yeah, unfortunately.
If I walked up to this, I would have looked directly at him and said, "Oh, somebody shot him from the side, from his right side." His right side.
So
that's not at all what happened.
Right, and so basically their study, contact or near contact gunshots to the head produce back spatter. So that's from their analysis, and again, the spatter is not just gonna disappear,
Nope.
no.
So the weapon appears to have been fired and then manipulated.
I would expect to see one of three things: either he held it and it was up, so the top, or back, so the occipital bone, or straight back towards the brain stem out the back, but nothing towards the side.
No,
I have the external evidence of the injury backstage. If you want to pull it up, I can read it to you. You can read it. It is what it is, but it states it doesn't make sense. It just went, okay, they can write whatever they want, but when you look at the physical picture of the wound, the injury, it doesn't line up with what they're writing in here to some aspect, okay? If you have any kind of a medical background or any kind of medical knowledge whatsoever, and you look at what they're saying, the entrance wound, the path of the wound, all of it, none of it lines up with what you look at in the photograph, period.
Nope. And it doesn't seem like his hands weren't anywhere near when the gun was fired. So it definitely completely appears to be staged.
Yeah, I've seen the real photograph that's not really put out, and it's bad, and it just doesn't line up with these writings in this report here.
So
and I know you said, Dago, you do have the autopsy pics, but we're not going to show those.
No,
someone in chat was mentioning it, so we are not going to actually. We're not going to show those. So
sorry, guys.
Just so that everyone is aware, we're not going to do that. So,
and listen, guys, I know you guys can handle this. I know you guys say you can handle this. I say I can handle this. I couldn't handle this. I'll just be honest with you. After I've seen this 1,000 times and I looked at this, I will not show this to you guys. I promise you. And I'm not trying to be a parent to somebody or a daddy to somebody or nothing like that. People said that to me in the past. I don't want to be responsible for somebody saying and thinking they can handle something like this, looking at this, and then later down the road going, oh my God, and having a complete total mind fuck over this. Okay. I'm just not going to do it. It's bad, you guys. It's very bad.
Yeah.
So they got a little more on the clothing, but we mostly covered it. But they say and Dago was explaining. So he had multiple layers of clothing on Cobain's legs. Again, it was pushed upward, bunched unnaturally. Lower legs show blood transfer stains visible only after enhancement. This is an inconsistency because, which I would agree with, a stationary suicide would not produce bunched clothing and
No.
transfer stain without corresponding pooling.
No.
So why does this matter? Why is it a big deal? Because the blood transfer pattern, to me, implies that movement occurred after bleeding began, and Cobain's body was likely moved or repositioned post-mortem. Now they have a basically their kind of breakdown of the heroin toxicology. So as you showed on that thing, his blood morphine level 1.52 mgs. They say this level is higher than most fatal overdoses, described by investigators as extreme. They say for a suicide narrative requirement, Cobain would need to inject the heroin, recap the syringe, store kit, walk across the room, and position long shotgun, and then fire accurately. We got a
Thank
donation.
you for the gift, wise lady. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. She says, experience absolutely tells me there is no way he could have functioned afterwards, after shooting that much dope. Yeah, it's
Right,
true. Yeah.
right. So then they have their physiological contradiction. They say heroin reaches peak effect in 30 seconds. Logan would know this better than me, so I don't know that specific details of that, but they say this dose would likely cause rapid sedation, loss of coordination, and potential unconsciousness. The heroin is more consistent with incapacitation than intentional suicide. That's what their conclusion was.
Okay.
Yeah, Logan in the back chat or the private chat, there's a link underneath WunWun's link. If you want to click that, that'll give you the everything I was just talking about. If you want to take that,
Okay, yeah.
then
Thank
that's
you.
from Washington State Toxicology Laboratory Department. All of the whole report, top to bottom, is in that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
just actually noticing like just where Kurt was found in that room, and that just looks like a really unnatural spot to
Yeah,
even consider doing that to yourself. I would think that when you're going
Yeah.
to do something like that, you would even just shooting up. You're going to get in
Yeah.
your comfortable space, in your favorite chair, at the top of
your
your
bed.
bed, your pillow, somewhere where it's comfortable for you, not in the middle of an empty ass room.
By
Or not
yourself
Right.
alone.
empty,
So,
but like in the middle of the floor
is-
seems like an odd
yeah.
spot. But not
Yeah,
usually where
gotta-
people even
yeah.
shoot up.
The next two
Yeah.
things are interesting too. But I wasn't aware until I read this this study. So for this is talking about the injection wound and the syringes found, a puncture wound on the left dorsal forearm, and it's documenting a surrounding circular discoloration consistent with a collared syringe. So the inconsistency: Cobain's heroin kit contained fixed needle insulin syringes. No collared syringe was found at the scene.
Mm-mm.
Why this matters: a collared syringe implies forceful injection, possibly intramuscular administration. So they're saying it's a it's a staging implication. Injection may have been performed by another person using equipment not left behind. And then what goes along with this as well is the injection location versus Cobain's dominant hand. So most track marks were on Cobain's right arm. Cobain was left-handed. The inconsistency, the significant injection wound is on the left arm. That implies injection using the non-dominant hand, which the autopsy shows no history of. Why it matters: because heroin users overwhelmingly inject with their dominant hand. So this implies, again, a staging implication that the injection site placement supports external administration. So
Interesting. Yeah.
I thought so. He's
Yeah.
not even using it. It wasn't even done with his dominant hand, which I find super
I'm
interesting.
curious to know if he had any marks, any track marks
He
on
did.
the other
There-
hand. Their
Oh, on
son
the other hand,
on
sorry.
the other, or
It-
not hand, but on the
It-
opposite arm.
It explains the track marks that were found within that report that I just sent in the back.
Okay.
They're all listed in there. There. Okay, go ahead. I was gonna say they gave.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah. Then they have a little more on the injection, intramuscular injection versus user behavior. Known user behavior: intramuscular heroin injection is painful, rare among younger users, used when veins are unavailable. They're saying Cobain's condition, venous access was still present, and he is a young, experienced user. So the inconsistency, intramuscular injection makes little sense for voluntary use. And again, they're saying implies a staging implication, supports the idea of forced or incapacitating injection.
And the fact that he still had the armband on from going to rehab. So the fact that he had tried to get clean means that his veins would have come to the surface more than they had been when he was using. So when you use, your veins kind of disappear almost and get further from the surface of the skin. But as you get clean, they start to rise back up because you're not mistreating them, right? So he would have had an easier time hitting a vein at that time because he had just spent a little bit of time getting clean. So that doesn't make sense to have intramuscular at that time.
Right. And again, heroin kit contents for scene logic, as we discussed before. Black tar heroin found unused, stored loosely, atypical for preservation. The inconsistency: with so much heroin available, a violent gunshot would be unnecessary for suicide. And again, with the staging implication, drug paraphernalia may have been placed to reinforce a narrative, not reflect intent.
Yeah, why wouldn't he just use, if he really wanted to commit,
Right.
Why wouldn't he just use all of this product he had?
Exactly.
Because surely that would have, and he would have enjoyed that feeling and got to leave this earth, not have to be here anymore like he wanted at one point, I'm sure. But he could have gone out in his favorite way.
Without extreme pain or any of that. You know what I mean? Agreed. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
So then they have there's an alleged blood stain near the suicide note. They're saying it's image manipulation. The claim a blood stain was alleged near the suicide note. The stain appears only after heavy digital manipulation. Original Polaroids show no blood in that area. Why this matters: blood evidence must be reliable, and digital artifacts can mislead interpretation. There's no corroborating blood evidence that supports the note's placement.
And that's the picture backstage is the photograph of this, or I'm sorry, the picture of that. Sorry. I couldn't.
That one?
Yeah, that was it. Go ahead and put that up.
Okay.
There's no, this is the original.
Right.
If you look, okay. Oh, holy shit. Sorry, you guys. A little too fast there. That's what the original picture of the suicide note looks like. Okay. And they're saying that this was manipulated. That they added these points. You see these little arrows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was manipulated and added in after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And they made him white. the points that they're pointing out. So I don't know if you had that photograph too, WunWun, but that's the
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Yep, we had it, but that's good. So, but being that you have the note up there, the suicide note presentation inconsistencies. They say the note appears curved inward in one image, curved outward in another. Later versions appear digitally altered. The inconsistency: physical paper cannot reverse curvature without manipulation. And so they're saying it suggests post-scene handling or representation of the note.
Everything, in my opinion, was manipulated on this scene. Everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Then they have an issue. There's missing autopsy pages.
Yep.
Apparently, page 2 and 3 of the autopsy report are missing from the publicly released copy.
Bingo.
Why this matters: missing documentation limits verification of timeline, injury descriptions, and scene correlation. And gaps reduce confidence in the completeness of the official record. So
they just conveniently disappeared.
Right. Like, yeah, we don't need page 2 and 3. Like,
which sounds
nothing
like
to see here. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, we're all too familiar.
And then they have some of their final they have the limited scene photography. Most images of Cobain's head body were never released. Early decision of the suicide, limited documentation. Yeah, as far as I know, the medical examiner like immediately put it as suicide. And I know I saw an interview with Cy Rec that he said that it would have been impossible to get results back that quickly to make that analysis. Even if it was a suicide, but to make that at least get the results back. No.
Yeah.
No.
There was nowhere near enough time.
No.
It's beyond ridiculous.
No.
They had results to things they shouldn't have had for days. Okay.
Yeah. So their final determination is the paper argues that no single inconsistency proves homicide. But again, as we have spelled out as we went along, showing a bunch of the stuff, but all inconsistencies together form a coherent pattern. Mechanical contradictions, physiological implausibility, bloodstained behavior, injection evidence, body movement indicators. Collectively, the authors conclude the evidence aligns more closely with homicide, followed by staging, then suicide. So that was their final conclusion.
Was there anything found as far as tying off the arm? You're muted, Dago.
You're muted.
You're muted, Dago.
You mean for the injection?
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it.
Interesting.
No, I know. I don't remember seeing anything.
I didn't remember reading anything about like a tourniquet or anything.
That was a big
anything that would have been used like a belt or anything.
Right.
Because I've never heard of a person using without tying off. I mean, especially a person who uses on a regular basis, because it's hard to find a vein.
Just like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
A user will go in, you put the toothpaste on the tooth and you brush. It's a regular, like riding a bike. That's your hobby.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not
right.
Hobby.
Right.
Routine. Sorry. Yeah, I thought that was a big deal too.
Especially somebody who uses on a several times a day, they can't find a vein very easy. Even with a tourniquet, you can't find a vein that easy. So I would definitely expect a tie off for him.
Absolutely.
So, Robin, I'm just curious. I know, like, got all his info. What do you think? Do you think from that peer study and that, like, what stuff we covered, do you think he was killed in the room, or do you think he was killed somewhere else?
Logan, you said it earlier. When you're going to do something like that, you're going to you want to be comfortable. You want to be in a place, and that place was empty. There was nothing, no comfortable place to sit. And I mean, even though he went to like a lot of times like seedy hotel rooms and stuff, there was still a
Right.
bed. There were still chairs. There was nothing there
Right.
that even if he had just gone there uh supposedly to use, why? When he had a beautiful house. I mean, it makes no sense to me that he would have gone there even to commit the act. It happened. Either somebody took him there before they did it, allegedly, in my opinion, or it was done somewhere else and then they took him up there.
Almost,
In my opinion.
Right.
Um,
it almost makes you
that
wonder if
that's
somebody's.
that's just what I feel. But
Yeah.
It,
I
it
think
almost,
the blood spatter does it from, well, there's a bunch of stuff, but the blood pattern and the blood spatter, like, is enough to prove to me.
yeah. But it almost makes you wonder if somebody, like, I could imagine somebody saying, don't do this in my house. I don't want things ruined in my house.
mm,
Okay. And that area was not used regularly for anything.
Yeah.
So
right.
I don't see him using in that area at all.
no.
A big reason for that is because a lot of times people who use will nod out, and if you nod out in a really uncomfortable spot, it's extremely painful, and you can, ruin parts of your body that way without getting the correct blood to that part of your body. Let's say he nodded out and his leg was tucked back behind him some way, and you're doing that on a hard floor. No, you're going to
Makes
Right.
sense.
use in
Right.
the same spot if you can. So if he's in his house and let's say Courtney's there, they use together, he's going to use on a comfortable chair or his bed or something like that. Now, if he's in a place where people don't know he's using, he's going to go to the bathroom, but he's not going to go in his own home to the top of the garage where he's going to nod out on a hard floor. No way.
Right.
No. Nope. I agree. Yep.
And a regular user, which he was, would know that.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
That's not comfortable. You're not going to go to a sterile spot to go nod out. You can't even enjoy your high that way.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right.
No. I just cannot believe. Well, I guess I can believe it. That they're just refuse to
They refuse, even with bringing
open
all
it,
these inconsistencies.
reopen
They
it, and tell the
refuse. Yep.
right.
Yep.
You know who's behind that, right?
Well, yeah, her. Money talks.
She has threatened in every aspect of this. She has threatened lawsuits. Okay. And here's my thing with this, guys, with Courtney. If she was so positive. Let's see. Go ahead if you guys want to read that first.
Yeah, JJ says, I recall that a psychologist had said at some point that statistically people don't commit suicide while they're high.
No, it's like a conflict.
You
It
would ruin
doesn't
the
make
high.
sense. It's a conflict. Right. You're trying to, the high makes you feel good. Like,
It's a complete contradictory to
yeah.
itself. Contradiction to itself. Sorry. What the hell was I saying?
I do think it's a little strange that he has a Band-Aid on the puncture wound on the opposite arm. A lot of times users don't, especially if you're a regular user like that, don't really waste time putting a Band-Aid on.
Well, is that Band-Aid from when he was in rehab still, or is that something from something else?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It's also strange that it's on the opposite of his. Not that it's not possible for a left-handed person to not use their dominant hand, but
right. See, I thought that Band-Aid came from rehab, but that might have been my mistake.
I'm sorry, Amanda's freaking me out with all these fonts she's using. She's got, looks like a little keyboard, and it looks like.
I forgot what I was gonna say completely now. God, I hate ADHD.
I feel your pain.
So I mean, I think we covered, enough stuff with Courtney and the timeline, and I think we proved our case enough enough that
Yeah.
some douchebag fuckery went on.
As JJ would say.
The only thing that we didn't get into with this, and it's only because, at least in my opinion, it was so odd. The person that it involves was a big disaster, and that's I know you guys have heard of El Duce. Okay, there's supposedly some involvement with him, so on and so forth, with this whole thing. So if you guys want to look into that, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. If you just all you have to do is go to Google and type in Kurt Cobain and then El Duce, and it'll tell you the whole story. But to me, it's not worth bringing into this because I don't have.
No,
I personally don't have hold a lot of like realism in that. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
that
think the petechiae though is really weird too.
Well, and see, that's why I think he could have been smothered beforehand, or maybe possibly, although it's not written in there's pages missing, like we know, but it's not written in the autopsy report, but he may have been strangled or smothered at some point, and before all this, in my opinion, to incapacitate him.
Because the petechiae, if they're trying to insinuate it happened when he was using, well, then you have petechiae, which means you don't have the wherewithal to grab a gun and shoot yourself either. So you can't have petechiae and a gunshot wound. I don't think petechiae doesn't really happen in gunshot wounds, do they?
I mean,
to the face, to the head?
No.
Right.
No.
So that's really out of place to have petechiae.
Yeah.
That's all I want to
PTI typically is from like loss of oxygen, like they stated in that, to
or pressure buildup.
Pressure. Right. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's why I wondered if there was possibly beforehand, like they read in the report, an incapacitation of him to be able to control him. Did they smother him? Did somebody smother him? Did they strangle him with a towel or a something? You know what I'm saying?
Something, something to cause petechiae, because that's not right.
No, it's not normal for that type of a situation.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, you guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm 51 years old. I was 19 years old when Kurt Cobain left us. He was a huge influence in my life as a musician. I know this was long and drawn out, folks, but like they said, we didn't want you guys just to have the 15-minute, this is what happened to Kurt. Bye-bye.
Yeah, right.
Because there's so much more involved, so many people involved for you to understand why people look at this and say he didn't kill himself. You have to look at every bit of this, every person, Dylan and Courtney's parts in this, and all the other people that we've talked about, to kind of see it the way that we've all seen it and say, oh, okay, now I see why people are saying this. The people that have been reinvestigated this have pulled all the files on this, that are trying repeatedly to have this turned on, but you know what I mean, reinvestigated, and it's denied repeatedly because Courtney has stated time and time and time again, she will sue, she will do this, she will do that if people keep bothering with this.
However, we have one maybe possible golden outlook, a thread possibly, and it's what we mentioned all the way back in like week 1 or week 2, I believe, when we were covering this, 5-6 weeks ago. Sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. So Courtney does have a book that's coming out, and it may bite her in the ass reaching out to Candace Owens, because Candace Owens, despite whether you like Candace Owens or not, she tends to be she's a pit bull. So if she has info, if she does a little investigation into this, if she thinks that she may be able to trick Courtney. Like Courtney thinks that Candace is like on her side and all this stuff. Candace would love to. She would love to be the one. Believe me, to solve. She doesn't care that Courtney's going to try to sue her. She will if she has the proof and she has enough evidence there to think that Courtney is complicit in this, in what happened, and that Kurt was
That's what Candace
killed. Yeah, she would take it.
Oh,
Believe
1
me.
million and 1%. And I almost feel like she probably will. Okay, to be honest with you, that's just my opinion, but I feel like she probably will. And I hope she does. Truly and honestly, I hope she does. I hope she goes behind Courtney's back and says,
I love this comment. Yeah.
yeah, Candace is gonna go eat her. I hope she does. Courtney, you guys, I'm not even gonna get into it. You guys already know how I feel about her. Okay. I'm just not gonna get into it, but I hope and pray that Candace Owens takes full advantage of this situation.
Yep.
And buries her. I hope she buries her.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. That's a horrible person. She does not deserve anything nice to come to her in that aspect, in my opinion.
Nope, I would agree. So, well, thank you guys so much for coming along on our investigation of Kurt's death. Like Dago said, we wanted to do a thorough, in-depth analysis and not just kind of gloss over a lot of things. We really appreciate you tuning in every week while we were doing this. And for those of you on the replay crew watching this, I'm going to real quick link the playlist here in the chat so that if you do want to watch the series, if you haven't yet, or if you want to, watch it again for whatever reason, you can certainly do that. So there we go. I just stuck that in the chat for you. Our next case, starting next week, will be looking into the death of Princess Diana. So that will be a whole other flavor. It'll be a whole other topic, and that is a fascinating case for those of you who either do remember that or it's gonna definitely be an interesting one, that's for sure, because it's another case of it didn't happen like they said it did.
They claim that she died in a horrible accident, and I can pretty much state that most of us do not believe that.
That's right. That's right.
I'm excited for this one. I truly am. I was excited for Kurt too, but this one I've been wanting to do this one for a long time.
Well, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Definitely looking forward to it.
Okay, so how about we go around the horn? We could do Logan, Dago, WunWun, and then I'll close this out for the evening. Oh, you're muted, hun.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Bronx is whining. He's got a potty. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you for the gifted. Thank you for our mods and everybody in chat. I appreciate all of you. I want to say happy birthday to my brother. My brother's name is Cole. It is his birthday today. So happy birthday to you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. Do something nice for yourself today. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for this. Thank you for being patient with us through this. It took a while, I understand, but like I said, we wanted it to be right. So you guys are amazing. Thank you to all the moderators, all of you, thank you to all of you out here and all these communities, guys. You're also very amazing. I'm super duper looking forward to next Sunday for this next one. Don't forget to love yourselves and love each other, folks, and don't change nothing. You guys are the beautiful people. We'll see you soon. Have a great night, folks.
Okay, thank you. And WunWun.
All right. thanks to great communities, meatballs, denizens, turtles, or I whatever you guys are called. Great support. Thanks for you guys hanging out with us on Sunday night and covering, taking kind of a different stay at some, taking a different look at some whatever, if you want to call them cold cases or to that extent. It's good to sometimes go back and rehash some of these things that, again, just sometimes seem to be whispers in the wind, but it's important to talk about. And there's got to be, obviously, why we're here. There's something that is fundamentally wrong with our system when we can have a peer review of all kinds of forensic experts from around the world, get together and can show the inconsistencies. And that's, they're basically basing stuff off of that. So that actual peer review, so most of the stuff that we talked about tonight, right, was a lot of it from the peer review. That's not even discussing, the specific things, the weird behavior of Courtney Love and the lying that we know that she did, and all that kind of fuckery that went on. They were just reviewing the autopsy and the suicide note and stuff with that. So you put all of that together. I mean, we probably could make a list of like 100, probably 100 different things that show that this was a homicide. So hopefully one day it will get the real killers. Because I say killers because I do not think Courtney. I definitely think she was involved, but she definitely didn't do this alone. So we want the full truth and everyone brought to justice. That's what we try to get at. So I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of different threads going down with the Princess Diana's story. I'm super interested in pulling on those threads and looking there. So again, thanks to all the communities and all of our great mods and everyone, especially Amanda, Penny, and Essie, all of you, backstage to help us. And I will end with a movie quote.
Okay.
Here we go. There are 3 rules that I live by. Never get less than 12 hours of sleep. Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as a city. And never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body. Now you stick to that, and everything else is cream cheese.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I know this.
No clue.
I can't.
Okay. End our suffering. What is it?
No guesses?
No,
I can't.
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Is it? Oh, wait. No. Hold on. Silence.
Don't cheat.
Don't
look at the chat.
Yeah. Someone got it already.
Is it Teen Wolf?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, Teen Wolf? Oh.
Yep.
Bianca got it.
Good job, Bianca. I didn't get it.
Good job. Amanda also. Yeah, you guys are good.
Well done. Well done. I had no clue.
Those are good.
Eons since I've seen that movie. So
you're gonna make me go watch it now, WunWun. I've been doing that, like watching these movies that you've been taking these
quotes. Yeah,
quote-
Yeah,
Quotes from-
I've been
Yeah.
watching these movies because it reminds me of watching old movies. I
right,
love it.
right.
Oh, that's too funny. Oh my gosh.
Great stuff. Great
Well,
stuff.
folks, thank you guys so much for coming out. You know, whether you're here live, you're on the replay crew, and we couldn't do what we do, you know, if you guys didn't show up every night. So, and for anyone who is, you know, going through a hard time with things, there is help out there. You can reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. So there is help available, folks, and
I was gonna do that.
I just hope you all have a wonderful rest of the evening, and we will be back tomorrow in some shape or form. I'm not sure. I guess DA may be on Birdie tomorrow night, but I'm not sure yet. So we will keep you guys updated as we have more knowledge of what those two are cooking up or not cooking up or whatever. So we will keep you informed of that. So, but you're all wonderful and we love you, and we will see you whether over on Birdie tomorrow night or right back here on our channel. So I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Take care, guys.
Have a great night,
Good
everybody.
night, guys.